What are the complications of vertebroplasty and balloon kyphoplasty, and can they be avoided? The first important thing is, should it be done? Do you really want cement leakage in the lungs, around the vertebral body, in the vein, inside the canal? As comparing both of them to each other, the meta-analysis showed that though there was no statistical difference in clinical parameters of pain and disability index between two groups, vertebroplasty was definitely superior in terms of being fast, less radiation, under local anesthesia, and highly economical, whereas kyphoplasty increased the post-operative vertebral body height, decreased the kyphotic wedge angle, which did not translate into a better clinical result, but also decreased the risk of cement leakage.
A disaster. Between these two procedures, meta-analysis have shown that there's no statistical difference in the clinical outcome, functional outcome. However, kyphoplasty definitely decreased the kyphotic wedge, increased the post-operative vertebral body height, and it was also superior in terms of short-term pain relief. And we could inject a higher cement volume. However, it had a much longer operation time, was generally done under general anesthesia, and much higher material cost than vertebroplasty. Even in long-term follow-up, found that both anatomical and functional parameters were nearly the same, also in terms of adjacent level fracture and non-adjacent level fracture. The two commonest complications, or rather the commonest complication, is cement leak. Infection also can happen, and there are different types of cement leaks. One is in the S type, which is in the segmental vessel, which goes towards the heart and pulmonary blood vessels, and one is B type, which goes to the basic vertebral vein and can go to epidural space. But the common complications were paraspinal leaks, intradiscal leaks, as well as posterior leaks. Posterior leaks is the most dangerous. Fortunately, the complication rate was less, and chances also was less. There are other complications which have been blamed on these two procedures, such as adjacent level fracture, non-adjacent level fracture, and general systemic complication. We'll come to that later. You do not want a cement leakage inside the canal and paresis or paralysis. You also do not want cement leakage in intervertebral foramina, radiculopathy, which sometimes require medicine or surgical decompression. But you can mostly get away with it. We have this frequent leakage anteriorly, laterally, and we get away with it. But what we really like in ideal case is the cement confinement within the vertebral body with some correction of kyphotic angle, even in a very grossly compressed vertebral body where the needle can be placed properly. The cement leakage and complication have been compared with vertebral in both thoracic and lumbar spine, and the only difference was found that in the cement injected, it was found that S type of leakage, which is in the segmental vein, which goes towards leading to pulmonary embolism, is higher with a higher volume of cement. Otherwise, cement leakage did not have too much difference in other types of leak. But the most important element was placing of the needle. The medial part of boundary of the pedicle has to be respected. And we must understand that there are vascular channels within the vertebral body. There are special landmarks, and the needle tip should be placed in the anterior half of the vertebral body. Even for balloon kyphoplasty, there are needle placement based on where is the fracture and where is the dense bone, and it should be followed. In a fracture where there is a cleft, it is not important that we reach the cleft and try to inflate it or put a needle and do vertebroplasty. important to know what is the target. In this patient of multiple myeloma, the pain was in the level of L3 area. Although the MRI scan shows obvious cleft and other lesions in the dorsal spine, and if L3 was not injected, the patient wouldn't get better. What are the risk factors for cement leakage? A meta-analysis shows that cement leakage is higher in vertebroplasty, nearly double to triple times. And the significant risk factor for cement leakage is intravertebral cleft, cortical disruption, cement viscosity, and injected cement volume. Other factors did not make much difference. Now, when we correlated the cement volume to the body volume, the mean volume ratio of intravertebral bone cement to vertebral body was about 25%, and all patients had a back pain relieved. They were followed for several months, although the cement leakage happened in almost 50% of the patient, and it was found that the risk factor for occurrence of cement leakage was more cement injection as well as vertebral wall incompetence. As we discussed, the strong predictor for cement leakage was presence of cortical disruption, large volume of cement, and low bone mineral density. And the additional risk factors were presence of intravertebral cleft and small node. Study has been done with a unilateral and bilateral have some advantage and disadvantage, and it was found that cement leakage as well as cement doses injected was less in unilateral, though the clinical results were nearly the same. Study found find optimal volume fraction, which gave pain relief. It was found that the dispersion was a better correlation than a localized high volume cement. And intravertebral cement volume of 4 to 6 ml could relieve pain rapidly. And optimal volume fraction was about 20%. As the volume fraction was increased, the incidence of cement leakage also increased. As we have discussed earlier, cortical disruption in vertebral wall and cement fraction percentage were identified as an independent risk factor. Very interesting study showed that the dispersion was more important than a localized high volume cement injection. Extensive cement distribution, which is almost 50% of the vertebral body, increase the recuperative rate, both for small cement volume but no dispersion, and large cement volume with small dispersion. So as long as a larger dispersion was there, the results were good. Small cement volume with extensive distribution gave a very good result. But if the cement volume was kept constant, it was found that obviously cement distribution was positively correlated with the restoration rate of vertebral height and improvement of kyphotic angle, which we have seen earlier did not functionally change the outcome. A study has been done with high viscosity bone cement, and it was found that with a high viscosity, leakage was much less, whereas the clinical outcomes were the same. Now, vertebroplasty and infection. Several studies have shown that both bacterial and tuberculous infections have happened in the cases of vertebroplasty several months or even in a year after the procedure, and probably the induced trauma causes a small hematoma as a best place for a microorganism to settle when there is a bacteria. It's a case of 80-year-old lady where the vertebroplasty was done and 4 months later was found to have tuberculosis. So point to remember is that in presence of bacteremia or significant sepsis, this procedure should be deferred. Another important point that doing kyphoplasty in the infection can also be disaster. This is a very interesting case of pain following a fall in the bathroom. Region was suspected to be infected because VSR was high, although myeloma workup was negative. DEXA scan showed normal scan. We did a biopsy first, sent for culture, sent everything. Everything came as negative. After a couple of weeks, vertebroplasty was done, patient was better. 2 weeks, 3 weeks later, the patient came with significant symptoms. Decompression was done. It came as a tuberculosis and the patient was treated. Now, new vertebral fracture after osteoporotic vertebral compression fracture compared between BKP and non-surgical treatment. Earlier it was thought that BKP causes new adjacent level disease, but this study said that it doesn't matter. It can happen equally in conservative treatment. So adjacent level fracture is not the complication of BKP. Can kyphoplasty or even done for osteoporotic vertebral fracture with posterior wall injury? Safe, yes. If the lesion is placed well away from the posterior wall, it has been found that it is safe both in trauma as well as in tumor. Now the procedure faults are the commonest cause of complication: wrong entry point, multiple needle insertions, cement not set properly before injection. A cement should be like a toothpaste as seen in the slide before injecting. Using too much pressure to inject cement, removing needle too early, injecting too much cement, choosing the wrong target, choosing the wrong patient, and don't forget, this procedure has the highest radiation. One has to be careful for long-term complication. Thank you.